I want to look at coaching into the workplace, but I want to look at it from a positive perspective, obviously. But I want to take a different tact, and I want you to think about something as you go through this presentation. I don't want you to just think of yourself. I want you to think about sharing this with some other leaders. I want you to think of other leaders from other departments that you interact with. Some of the most common examples are obviously sales, marketing, sales, customer service, operations, shipping. But I want you to get together with another leader too and share this presentation. And I want you to strategically collaborate. You'll understand why here in a bit. But every single day we battle what? Attitude, teamwork, communication, just to name a few. There's a lot more, right? But all of these leadership challenges make up our workplace. Now I'll let you in on a secret. Most people don't drive into work listening to positive radio or a podcast to fuel their mind positively. They're typically passively listening to the radio. Maybe music, probably music, or maybe public radio. Where, by the way, people gripe. Most people don't drive into work thinking, how am I going to be a great teammate today? Most people don't drive into work saying, you know what, I've got to be a really proactive, thoughtful communicator to people in other departments where we've had a discord with. Employees don't think that way. It is incumbent upon us as daily leaders to challenge this. And one of the greatest things that we can do is to leverage positive strengths. The Gallup organization reports people will engage 8 times more when we lead with positive things. I am not saying to ignore someone's negative attitude. I am not saying to ignore someone who is not being a good teammate. I am not suggesting that you ignore someone who does not get back to people and poorly communicates. What I'm suggesting is to build up the goodwill and positive interaction around those situations, because then you give those people an hourly, a daily choice of improving. So one of the things that we go through is we have company days, right? Sometimes we get in at 7 a.m. By about 9 a.m. we've already accomplished a couple reports or we've done a number of things at work. But what I want you to think about are your company days from a coaching perspective to fuel these 3 areas. Send somebody a 30-second message. How can you do that? Send them a voicemail. Send them a text message. One of the things that I do with my employees, I send them an audio text so they can hear my voice and my energy of how much I appreciate them. By 9 a.m., call someone in the office. But make sure when you call somebody in your office, if your employees are local, that the other employees hear you. Such as, Jack, can I see you in my office right away? Guess what everybody's impression is? We've gone through this 1,000 times. They're all thinking what? Uh-oh. Because guess what happens? Jack comes in and you praise him and say, Jack, I got your last report. Well done. Awesome. I really appreciate your effort lately. You're moving in the right direction. Guess what? You're done. 30 to 60 seconds. That will last the whole day. How? Because when Jack goes back to his office, every single employee is asking, what happened? Email a boss praising their employee from another department. Tom, I just wanted to let you know that Laura has been fantastic to work with. Our teams are collaborating better. I still think we have a ways to go, but I just wanted to specifically recommend her to you. And if you could call her into your office, that'd be awesome. Now the other department's hearing positive things about our department. Not the boss, the department, because guess what we tend to do? We tend to label. But let's also say you have an employee who's struggling. And one of my favorite clients of all time is a gentleman by the name of Bryce. And Bryce was one of the first people to say, I don't have time to coach. But one of the things that he does, and he's found it gives him more energy, he's turned out to be one of the best coaches I've known, he takes a fast walk with employees and he coaches. So if you have a struggling employee, take a walk. Bob, come on, let's get up. Let's take a walk. Let's get you away from this grind. That employee will trust you and love you for life. So as we go forward, we have the grind. Every single day, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., we got meetings, reports, calls, people to get back to, things we forgot to do. We have a grind. But I want you to think about scheduling in between time. I want you to think about praising people from other departments. I want you to think about doing some unique things for your people, but schedule it. So when you look to the right here, write someone a heartfelt note and put it on their desk. It could be a card, it could be a sticky note. Send a positive email praising someone and copy their boss. That's what builds communication. Share in a meeting the star of the week or someone who has created success. So for example, I wanted to commend everybody or recommend to everybody something that Laura did with one of her customers last week. It was fantastic. Laura, share that. And what did I do? I didn't just cover my agenda. I took the time to recommend somebody. Take a coffee break with a struggling employee and assure them that you're there to help. What do we tend to do too much? Talk about their lack of results. If someone's struggling, they already know they have a lack of results. If someone's at 90% of goal, don't tell them they have to get to 100%. They can do that math. But tell them, look, I know you're 10 points short. I'm here. I'm going to help you. We're in. I'm in it with you. What do you think we ought to do to get that 10%? Take a quick lesson on coaching, whether it's reading a blog. Fuel your mind. Now you must be wondering what these numbers are behind each one of these bullets. Those are the amount of minutes it takes to do these tasks. This comes out to 31 minutes. This is less than 4 minutes every hour. Is attitude, teamwork, and communication important enough for you to take 4 minutes every hour? Schedule it. And let's say the coffee break is only 10 minutes. You are less than 3 minutes out of every hour to build a positive workplace with positive attitudes, higher degrees of communication, greater interaction and collaboration from a teamwork standpoint. Or are you going to let the grind control your day and the way you interact with your people? So when I think about some of these suggestions, let's take this very simple looking diagram. You've called this great employee, Tim Hagen, into your office, and he's a leader. He's one of your leaders, and you praise him and say, look, I want you to take some time, Tim. I want you to praise 2 other people and call them in your office. And by the way, you have an employee, Theo. Theo's really been performing a little bit better. He's starting to show more effort. And you make sure you call him into your office, but you let everybody, including Callum, see that you're calling Theo into the office. And the rest of the teammates start to see that Theo was called into the office. He comes out of the office. Callum says, what happened? Oh, John was just praising me for a job well done. And then you've sent an email to a leader praising Aston Irwin of a job well done. And then he gets called into the office. Everything I just said will take less than 2 to 3 minutes. And ultimately, what will happen? All of these people start sharing this information. You know, I always make this joke when I do public speaking. Start a positive rumor at the water cooler. All too often, it's easy. It's human nature to negatively react. It's easy to gripe and complain. Think of this when we talk about human nature. Think about youth sports, and I use these examples, right? Have you ever gone to a game, whether it's soccer, basketball, baseball, and seen a parent go up to an ump and say, hey, thanks a lot for doing this. It's really great for our kids to have a good ump and have a great experience in youth sports. Can you imagine putting on a striped shirt knowing you're going to be yelled at for the next 2 hours for $20? Because what's our knee-jerk reaction? It's to gripe. They're screwing over my kid. But nobody for a second thinks, you know what? These guys are just doing it for a few extra bucks and they're just trying to make a living or, create a great experience. But nobody ever thanks them because it's easier to complain. The same thing happens in our workplace. My challenge to you is to share this presentation, share it, and strategically take 2 weeks, call people into the office, write notes, put it on their desk, call them into the office and say, Bob from another department was praising you. I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate it. And watch things drastically improve. Good luck.